Greetings and salutations, my artsy friends. How is everybody today? Good, I hope. Hi, Keels. How are you today? Okay, sorry, I'm just getting my Facebook on here. Okay, I wanted to talk about, hey Nancy, did everybody understand the video that I posted about printing? I hope that that made sense to everybody. Let me know. Okay, so today we are going to do, remember I told you that July is World Watercolor Month. So, oh, pickleball. Interesting. So I just started a new book called The Henna Artist. Has anyone read it? It's kind of fascinating. It's I just started it, so I can't really tell you anything about it, except that it takes place in India in the 1950s, like mid 1950s. So they're just they've just gotten out from under I don't understand that. So are you going, Renee, are you going to a self-serve or are you taking it to them to put through their machine? I go to a self-serve machine. So I'm doing it myself. Hi, Yolanda. How are you? I'm super excited that you're here too. So today we're working on, so anyway, the henna artist takes place in 1955, I believe. India, not long after they have gained their independence from the English. So it's kind of a fascinating, I just like to, what makes people tick. What makes them do the things they do? What makes them, what makes people, what makes them who they are. So, and I just like to read about foreign lands and, I have this dream of going to India one day and seeing all the marigolds and all the beauty and, Okay, so let's start painting some pansies. So again, we're going to, am I frozen there, you guys? Can you see me? Okay, I'm gonna do some purples. Absolutely. So Yolanda, if you go to my website and Corbiere-Scott designs.com. Where's that paper? It's usually right here, but it is not. And Corbiere-Scott designs.com. That will, here's the old one. That's where all of my art printables are available. That's kind of close, isn't it? Oh, sorry. And Corbiere-Scott designs.com. And the, you know what? I get used to all my pals being here all the time. So I'll go over what I usually go over at the beginning of class. Find me at Ann Corbiere-Scott Designs on both Facebook and Instagram. Both of those, hi Nicole, that's the, I don't charge for my classes. I just ask that you like and follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Ann Corbiere-Scott Designs. Please do not try Ann Corbiere-Scott because that's my family Facebook. I try to keep them separate. Hey, Jack. But then once you've joined, once you follow me on both of those things, please follow me. Please ask to join my private Facebook group, Let's Get Artsy with Ann Corbiere-Scott. And there are 3 questions. Please answer the 3 questions because one of them is your email. And then once I have your email, on Fridays, I usually try on Fridays or Thursday evening, I try to send an email that tells you what we're going to be working on the following week. Saturday's class, so I do a class on Saturdays and I do one on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So Saturday's class is, we study a great artist and we get inspired by them. And when I say study, my classes are only about an hour long, so it's not like they're super intense or anything. We're just gonna learn a little bit of art history and some art appreciation, and then, hey Linz, and then a little bit, Lindsay, I need to call you later. And then do a little color theory, a little art history, a little art appreciation. And then we just are inspired by that great artist, and then we create in our art journals. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I try to do paint on my paintables. So because the month of July is World Watercolor Month, we're doing all watercolor. But next, and so then, but I want to show you all different things that you can do with them because I think they're pretty open-ended, and we can use all different kinds of mediums. You should never limit yourself. So this one, I'm thinking I want to do watercolor, but I also brought my Zig clean color markers because they are also a water-based product, a water-based medium, and that just means that the color moves with water versus like alcohol markers, the color does not move with water. So and I'm just using some color that I just happen to have up mixed on here on my palette. So like always, I like to do a nice wash of watercolor, and then I'm going to come in and deepen it at the spots where 2 places intersect, where they kind of overlap each other, and where I have already done a little bit of stippling here that gives you the natural shade area. So we're going to come in here, and I know it looks kind of dark, but we're just going to come in here and just pounce some color in, let that dry, and then I'll show you how to blend it out. Is everybody painting or just watching? So I love this because it kind of, you know how a pansy kind of looks ruffly around the edges? That's what I want to kind of convey with paint. So this one, I didn't seem to do much here, so I'm just gonna fake it. So Nancy, if you get Northwoods, that will that should run through your, hi Denise, that should run through your printer. If not, like I said, go to Kinko's and just walk in like you know what you're doing. Watch my little video. Oh, I felt like such a weirdo because I was talking to you through my mask. But seriously, that whole process took me about 3 minutes. I was in there like, seriously, like 3 minutes. It wasn't anything. Not much at all. Okay, so I have some green here on my palette. So I'm going to just start a nice washy base of color. I just want to start with color. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't even have to, like, this doesn't even have to be the color that I end up with, you know? And here's the thing. This can be, you can make this all green if you wanted. I don't care. It's up to you. The most important thing is that you play with those techniques of creating depth as you paint, because that'll make you happy in the long run. So this art printable, the pansies, I drew for my gram because in her yard, my whole growing up life, she lived in this funny greenhouse that was had a flat roof on Sugar Island, and it in her flower beds in the front under her windows, she always grew pansies, so they just always remind me of her. So I'm just coming in and tapping in some more green in the, like, down the veins, but it's just like barely there, right? We'll come in with some deeper shades in a minute, but I just happen to have this paint here, and I like to just yak and paint. How about you girls? Do we have any boys here yet? Or are we all girls? I think we're all girls. So just know that you can take some artistic license in your colors. You can make them whatever you want. They don't have to look like realistic pansies. That's what I was trying to say. You could do it all green. You could do it all black and, you know, like shades of gray. That might be kind of cool. Shades of turquoise. That might be kind of cool too. Okay, so now I'm going to show you my little trick. So now that this color has been, oh Nance, you just need to go in and do it. You didn't. What's that? Is it Maya Angelou who somebody said, ask for forgiveness instead of permission? I just take my own stuff in there all the time. Okay, so I washed off my paintbrush, right? And then I dried it on my towel. And now these colors that I've kind of built up, now I'm just going to come in. So a damp brush is your best friend when it comes to blending, because then you're just going to come in and just soften that edge. Just pounce, 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 right? And sometimes I like to go in to the dark spot, right? And sometimes, see, that's still a little bit light, wet, I think. Sometimes I just, like if it's a line sort of, I just kind of go back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. See? But you want it to be, really kind of organic and not like a straight line or anything. You just have to make sure that this paint has dried, because if not, you're gonna get like water spots almost. Do you see how that's kind of a water spot? I mean, we can certainly fix it eventually, but for right now, ugh. Okay, let's paint another pansy. I'm thinking I want to mix some, like she always had shades of purple with that pretty, like some yellow in here. So I'm thinking I'm going to pull some of this yellow, right? And then I think I'm going to grab a little bit of orange out of that pan and add it. Mix it, and then I'm just going to water it down. Right? Because I want it to be kind of that golden, a little deeper than butter yellow. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to paint here. So no, it doesn't. I go to Kinko's, Yolanda, because I do like their laser prints because I can print it on Copic friendly paper, cardstock, or watercolor cardstock, or sometimes you can print on. I also use Bristol, oftentimes. I just find for watercolors, I just find that watercolor paper usually works better because it can handle lots of water, right? But you can certainly, you can print it on computer paper if you want and just color it with colored pencils if that's your jam. I don't ever want somebody to not make art because they don't have the exact same thing as me. I just want you to make art, right? Believe me, you're all creative geniuses. You'll be able to make whatever it is work. And if you don't have an idea, believe me, everyone in this group will have an idea. Somebody will have a cool idea of what you can do with your printable if you print it on different kinds of paper. That's the beauty of having artsy friends. Even if we have to get artsy together apart, like now. That kind of stinks, doesn't it? I do miss teaching in person. But this is working out pretty well. I have all these new friends. So, if you have an inkjet printer at home, you can still, you can certainly run just cardstock through there, or it depends like what every printer is like a little bit different and can take different thicknesses of paper, but you might just try it. Like once you buy the printable, you can print it as many times as you want on every different kind of something, right? So think about that, So now I'm adding a little bit more orange here. And I know it seems like really a lot, but remember we're going to pounce it out. And down here in these, every place that you think it would be dark, you're going to deepen the color. That's what I do. Because I like to create, for me, it's just magic to create depth with just color. Right, and my printables are only $4 a piece, and you get my vision when I drew them was that I wanted people to be able to create many cards, right? So you can create a slim line, an A2, and then there's always one piece of individual artwork, and then at least 2 sentiments. So you can create, sorry, I might keep getting out of camera. And none of this is computer generated. I have drawn it all with my own hands. So nobody else in the whole wide world has something just like mine, because some people use clip art, and you know, if that's their thing, that's fine. It's just, as a trained artist, that's like sacrilege to me. But if other people, you know, if other people do, as long as they're honest about it, and that they say that they, you know, say that they use clip art, then I think that's fine. I just, I don't like it when people act like they drew it when they didn't. That took somebody years of practice and struggle to draw. So anyway, all that to say, mine is all original artwork, and they're $4 a piece. And once you purchase it, and make sure you download it to your save it to your downloads on your computer, then you can print it as many times as you want. Just know that the link in the email that you'll receive expires after 24 hours. So make sure that you immediately download it or save it to your downloads on your computer. Then you can print it however many times you want. Okay, let's try and build up the... Oh, thank you. Thank you, Nancy. I'm dying to see what you make. I'm dying to see, you know, I just love that genius breeds genius, right? Like we all like, ooh, that's a cool color combination, or ooh, I wouldn't have thought to do it that way, or whatever. What I wanted to focus on today was I saw this trend. I was telling my friend Tessa that I really am kind of digging these trends of one layer cards. I think that's kind of cool, right? Because sometimes they're like so many layers and layers and layers of stuff, which, believe me, I love. But I'm also kind of loving like pushing yourself creatively to create something so with so much depth that you can barely tell that that's one layer. So I count this as my one layer, right? So I can paint this all, and then I can die cut it with like a stitched edge die, right? But I can also, I'm gonna paint like just kind of a little bit of a background, this pale gray, right? But nothing, I'm not going all the way to the edge because I want it real painterly and loose, right? So I'm just gonna come in, and just create a little bit of depth like this. But this, and do you see this gray is so light that it's it kind of fades right into the background base color of the watercolor paper, right? And remember, if you happen to have, like, do you see how this is kind of puddly? Here's a trick. If you take your paintbrush and dry it off on your paper towel, and you come in, you can soak up a bunch of that. Then just tap it off on your paper towel, come in, soak it up, tap it off, come in, soak it up, tap it off, and then clean your brush, tap it off on your paper towel again, and then just soften that edge, right? Just come in with that pounce, 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 and that will just create this little bit of a shadow, right? I'm kind of digging that. And we can play with that more, just like we're gonna do with the petals. So I wash my brush again, and then I'm drying it on my paper towel. You notice that I do not waste. I have 75 different painty paper towels because I can't waste them. And I probably used this for dinner at some time, and then I kept it so that I can, because I can't waste. All right, so we did the same thing. We washed our brush, right? Can you see that? We washed our brush off, and then we dried it on the paper towel, and now it's just damp. And we're gonna come in and just barely, there we go. See how we're just softening that line? So this one, we're going to just soften this line. Little by little by little. And the more that you, the more time you take, the happier you'll be with your results. Right? So that seems a little bit. So if you pick up some paint and it feels like too much, just tap it off on your paper towel. Then go back in with your damp brush again. Hi, Carrie. So I'm going to come in here and just tap, 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 softening that edge. Getting rid of some of that excess paint. This one's really quite deep in color, so we're going to, there we go. Just my brush is kind of almost barely touching the paper, and because of that, I'm getting a nice gradation of color, right? So here we're just gonna loosely, there we go. Do the same thing here. And remember, these are the ones that we are creating ourselves, right? The ripples. Right? So we're just going to tap that out. Tap this one out. Can everybody kind of see what I'm doing? I hope. Rinse, tap, tap, tap on your paper towel. So here's another thing you could do. You can turn your paper so that you, it's comfortable for your hand, right? So then we can come in and kind of push the color into the place where we built it up, right? So we can just work out the edge, right? And we can do this where it's just going to create the slightest hint of dimension, and I'm telling you, it makes all the difference, right? How's everybody doing? Good, I hope. And here's the thing, if you feel like you are overzealous with your blending, you can just add some more color, right? We just don't want any harsh edges because then it just looks as organic as possible. Right? So, rinse my brush, tap it off on my paper towel, and then I'm going to come in and do the same thing. How is it in your neck of the woods today? Oh, Yolanda, where do you live? Do you live here in Arizona? Do you live someplace else? And you know, I'm just going to tell you what I have found is that the blend happens kind of like all of a sudden. All of a sudden you're like, oh, it's blended. Here we go. Yolanda, are you still here? It is hot here, but it's getting to be summer storm time. So it's like yesterday we had no sunshine. It was just kind of overcast all day, and it was it wasn't, well, it might have been a few degrees cooler, but it was just muggy. Ugh. How about where you are? Is it hot? Is it muggy? Is it cool? Is it rainy? I think we had 16 drops of rain yesterday. That's it. I was so hoping we'd have a big summer storm. I love those, but nope. So I'm just continuing to soften those lines. And then I'm also thinking that I'm going to come in with this gray again and just deepen it right here, right at the places where, remember, where two things meet, that's always dark. It's always dark where two things meet. So right here, this petal and this leaf, it's going to be dark. So, but we're just going to slowly build that. So I added a little bit deeper, a little more pigment. So I'm just leaving that there for right now. And I'm going to do some right here. Is this would be a little bit deeper too. And I'm going to turn so we're not craning our arm. Come in here, do the same thing. Taking your time, building that water, building that color up here. And here, I don't think we started up here before. Another cool trick that you can do, if you don't want it to make it less contrasty, you can just add some of that gray Yeah, we're supposed to get rain later in the week too, Nancy, but I don't know. Add some of that gray to purple, the purple that we're using here, and you can just, that just makes a cool, do you see how that just makes like a cool, deeper, complementary shade, right? So we're just gonna do some more here, some more here. And remember, we'll just let that sit and soak into that watercolor paper a bit, and then we'll tap it out. So around frilly edges like this, I just like barely tap my brush around here, because I just barely, right? I just want just a little bit of an edge. Am I missing anyone talking? Sorry about that. Sorry, it's shaky. Right, so I'm gonna just barely tap around the edges. Let that sit, and then we'll work it out. Right, let's try over here. Barely, 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 barely. Can everybody still see that? Okay, then you also might take some of that, the purple that you've added, like the littlest, tiniest bit of black to, or a little bit of the watery gray that you've used and you've added a little bit of purple to it, so it just barely has some tinge to that, then you could come in with that and deepen like the darkest, like right on the edge of the stippling. And you see how that's already creating more dimension, right? But I mean, do not get heavy-handed with your dark gray or your black. Just kind of barely. It is so much better to do like a million layers of color slowly. You'll be so happy with the results, right? So remember, we kind of have to create our own because I didn't draw it here. So try there, here. Then we can do here, here. Do you see how just this little bit, I swear, this little bit of color, you can transform something, right? Rinse my brush again. Anybody else have something to say instead of just listening to me yammer on? I'm having a little bit of allergies today. Okay, we have 2 more pansies to paint, and we have the center of this. I'm thinking I want to do the center of this pansy nice deep purple. So I'm going to pull some purple over here on my palette. Your palette should be very colorful, just like this, because that means that you've been in your paints, you've been mixing your paints, and the more you mix your paints, the wide array of colors. Hey JC, Lucinda and I were just chatting about you today. The more you mix colors, the range of your palette of colors will be crazy. And if you have, hi Barbara, if you have one set of paints, I've said this in Saturday's class and I'll say it again, just get one set of watercolors, whatever you can afford. I use, for the most part, when I'm teaching classes, I use this set. It's a classic set from Prima Marketing. Now they are called Art Philosophy, I believe, but it's all the same company and all the same paints. It's just they've just named a different division name. But anyway, I can make a million zillion colors out of this. And the way to get proficient with watercolors or any medium is to just use it all the time and get to know it and get to know its capabilities. And when you do that, I mean, it's just like if you have a favorite pan that you cook with, or a favorite spoon, or if you're a crocheter, if you have your favorite crochet hooks or knitting needles or whatever it is. I'm telling you, paints and pencils and markers, the more you use them, the more you get to know them, you'll know exactly what they can do for you, right? So like I like to, I certainly have less expensive paints and more expensive paints, because this is my job, right? But when I teach classes during non-corona times, I teach one class a month. I have one day that I teach 3 classes in a row, all day long on a Saturday. And I use the tools that the store sells, right? So the store that I teach at is Scraps of Love, and she sells these primo marketing, these tins of watercolors, because I told her that was, I told her that they were amazing because there's many palettes, but the classics and the tropicals, you can do a million zillion things out of it. So I teach, my first class of the day is Bible journaling, and the second class is whimsical lettering, and the third class is wordsmith art journaling. So it's an art journaling class that I've kind of been developing over the years. Anyway, I can do anything with just this palette of paints, because do you see, I just keep mixing colors, mixing colors, mixing colors. I don't ever want to see it all white, because then that means that I haven't been in here. I haven't been painting. I haven't been creating. So let's see, what can I come in and, so I just added that little bit of purple. I painted these, right? So these, let's do maybe some green. I don't really know what color those are on a pansy, but let's make them green. I don't know. So I grabbed some green from the palette here, and I found a green spot over here on my palette, which is AKA the inside lid. So any slick surface, right, can be your palette. You can have, I have lots and lots of plastic palettes because they're quick, they're easy, they're cheap, and they're, hi Aunt Chris, they're easily accessible. Everybody can get them, right? So now I'm going to come in with some of this green here, and I'm just going to go down the veins of the petals. Aunt Chris, these are the pansies that grew in front of my Graham's house, the greenhouse with the flat roof on Sugar Island. She knows what I'm talking about because she is from there too. Here we go. So I know it looks quite stark right now, but then we'll blend it out and it'll be fabulous. Right? Oh, we have green up here too. We have a leaf up here too. So we're just gonna deepen the veins, right? So let's let that dry. And let's see, we could come back and we could, so the yellow and the orange, remember we did there, we're gonna do that same thing. We'll rinse our brush, dry it off on our paper towel, and then we'll come in with our damp brush and we're just gonna soften the edges of the orange. So it just barely, the gradation of color is so subtle that you'd have to look super close to see the difference. Like you want it to be so smooth that you don't see where the yellow turns, the end of the yellow and the beginning of the orange. You want it to be so smooth. And you can totally get that by just doing this technique. And by doing that, that's how you create depth and a more natural look, kind of a more organic look to your painted images, right? So see how this is starting to look really kind of ruffly, and it's all because of this orange and that deeper purple right there. But we're barely touching our brush to our paper. So more water. Remember, damp brush is your friend when blending. How's everybody doing? Oh, I keep doing that. Sorry, you guys. I'm sure that's like a roller coaster. I hit the, you know what? I have this new stand thing and I'm just getting used to it. Sorry. So this one, I want to come from the other side. Same goes here. Now let's do the same thing with this darker, right? We're gonna just come in with a damp brush and we're just barely working that out. So do you see how you can almost, so this one, we can kind of tap it out, but we can go right up along this edge of this other petal. If we kind of, because remember this petal is on top of this petal, so it's going to be a little bit darker under here, right? Oh, aqua markers. Who, Keely? Who uses those, or whose brand is that? Aqua markers. Is that Kelly Creates? Or Jane Davenport? Because all of this technique you can do with any water-based medium. So on Thursday, I'm going to do something similar, but I'm going to use my Zig Clean Colors. And so remember, you don't have to necessarily have exactly Zig Clean Colors. Oh, Letraset. Okay. But a water-based marker. So, Tombow is a water-based marker. Let's see. Who else? Any of Tim Holtz's distress markers. You could use distress ink pads. I can show you that too on Thursday, how you can create watercolor with a distress ink pad. And that's cool because there's so many cool colors, and you can also mix them just like you can mix any kind of water-based product. Okay, so here we're going to do that same thing where we're going to just deepen this. Take this deeper purple, the darker shade, and just go along the edge, right? With that, we want to get rid of this edge. More water, tap it out. And just push that color right into here, where it's going to go under that petal. And then we're going to continue to do the same thing. Remember we talked about, so we have this, we're just going to do the same thing. We're just going to back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So that's going to soften that edge, right? The edge of the color into the first gray that we laid down, the watery wash. And then we're just going to work it out. Like just tap it out. Well, I haven't gotten to the other two pansies yet, and it looks like we're about 10 minutes out. But like always, I will finish them and I will make cards and I will post them. And then I'm thinking I'm going to start sending these creations to people who buy my art printables. Like if you buy 4 art printables, I will send you a card. I will send you a thank you. Because the whole reason that we create these cards is to spread joy around, right? To make somebody else happy. Some nice happy mail. So I just softened the edge of the lightest gray. Now I'm going to pull some of this gray. I'm going to kind of work it into the edge and then pull it and tap it off. Ooh, well, I'm going to have to look at them. What about those Karen markers? Has anybody tried those? I don't know if that's how you say it. Karin. It's another kind of water-based marker, you know, because I need something else, like a hole in the head. But, you know, what if somebody else had something that, you know, that you didn't have? And who isn't game for trying out a new art supply? So anyway, these, I don't know if it's Karen markers or something like that. Anyway, they, a friend has a couple, and they are quite juicy, she said. So I don't know. I think you might have to play with, no, you don't want to miss out. That's for dang sure. Especially when it comes to art supplies, Keels. We got to try them all. So do you see I'm pulling some of that color off? I'm tapping it off on my paper towel. There we go. So same goes here. I want it to look really watercolory, like a watercolor painting, and I think that's what I'm getting here, right? So it has a nice painterly feel, I think. Soften those edges and then just kind of work it out. Just work it out. And I try to work it out into the edge of one of these objects, right? Because then it's not like a big black blob in the center. It just kind of naturally fades into the... We do want more and more stuff, Nancy. You're right. It kind of naturally fades into the object, the leaf, the petal, whatever it is. Rinse again. Now I'm going to do this one. See, I'm a little bit wet. Let's come back this way. Let's try to soften this one first. Here we go. I will say I am so glad that I made that purpley gray, because I think it really enhances the painterly kind of what I was going for in the background. And I will say that I just leave my watercolor things up and out. Like I just leave it here on my kitchen table like for the afternoon, and I'll just like let stuff dry for a while and then go away and come back. If you go away and come back, you're going to see it with fresh eyes, and that there's nothing more valuable than that, because you know, I'm sure you, like you're right on top of it, right? You see what's right in front of you. And the more that we give our eyes a break, because you're so concentrating on one little detail that all the other stuff it kind of fades away. Right, so I'm gonna soften these purple lines. So I told you what I'm reading. Anybody else reading anything good? I told you I'm reading The Henna Artist, and I heard about that because it's one of Reese Witherspoon's book club selections, and I will say, you know what? She chooses really, really fascinating women-centered stories that, and every one I've read, I've loved. She had one, the first one that I read of hers was it was one by, golly, what's her name? Her last name is Cleeton, maybe. Anyway, it was a story about a family that came from Cuba as things were getting kind of rough there. But, oh, I just love a family drama, don't you? I just love a saga about a family and multi-generational, and to learn more about a time in history. I think that's always kind of fascinating. And that one was when we left Cuba, and the other one was something about Havana. Anyway, the third one that we read, hey Lynn, the third one, so my mom and my sister and I all read these books at the same time. The third one we read was Last Train to Key West, and that was fascinating too. I think I talked to you guys about that one already. It was really, really good. Really good. So I'm kind of deepening down here. Lynn, are you home? Are you making a new drink selection for this week? Lynn talked about black cherry Kool-Aid. And she posted it, and that just made me have a craving for black cherry Kool-Aid. And I'm just going to tell you, it was as delicious as you remember it. And then she started making all these other, like raspberry lemonade and all kinds of different kinds of nice summer drinks. So what's on tap this week? Yes, it is watercolor paper, Barbara, but it is called, and it's by a company called Northwoods. And the reason that I like it is because you can run it through a printer, and because it's very thin. It still has lots of watercolor paper properties, but it can take quite a bit of water. I will say you need to apply a layer, like a washi layer or whatever, and then let it dry before you can kind of manipulate it. So just kind of know that going in, that you need to, but I think in any kind of watercoloring, you should paint and then let it dry, and then paint and then let it dry. I think that makes all the difference. So I'm just going to take a little bit more of this green and do the same thing that I was doing, where I'm just tapping in color, and then I think I might do that same thing where I add just a speck of black to this green and come into the deepest areas after this application of color. That would be my next one. And then see, like right here, I think this should be dark. I don't have stippling in there, but like common sense tells me this is kind of coming right under this petal, and so it might be dark. But I also like to leave white areas, because that's going to create some really nice depth. And that's the beauty of watercolors, I think, is that it's easy to create. I think they're the most forgiving. Hi Patricia. I purchased my Northwoods watercolor paper. It's Northwoods Rubber Stamps watercolor paper. I purchased mine from my local scrapbook store, and I know that they have some. I just checked the other day, and it's and they ship. So they are Scraps of Love, and they are located in Peoria, Arizona. And you can find them on Facebook and Instagram, and they would be happy to ship. I do use art masking fluid. I love it. I love it. I did it a lot in my Bible journaling classes. That might be something fun to try with these art printables, right? So I'm just gonna, so I'm gonna add the green to the center. So I'm gonna take some of this excess paint. Don't ever waste color. Have some green there. Add it here. Remember, you can, another cool thing is that once you're done painting, you can always enhance everything with your colored pencils. You can I love to do layers and layers and layers of color. I don't know if you picked up on that or not, but I do. Anyway, but you can, like, once your watercolor is dry and it's blended out to how you want it, if you're feeling it, you can totally add some more depth and dimension and some texture with your colored pencils. So I'm going to come in here with a little bit more purple, right? I'm going to do the same here. And I'm just going to leave it. Remember, we're just going to, I know it always looks harsh, but then we blend it out and it doesn't look so harsh anymore, right? So we're just going to keep blending it out. We might, yes, I have those too. I have those too. I told you, Nancy, I don't deny myself much cuteness. The Derwent pencils I got while we were in England last year. I'm telling you, that's what I spent all my vacation money on, art supplies. We went to England, all over England, and because Jeff's mom is British, and Paris for the day, so I could see the Van Gogh exhibit that is in my, there's a video of it, not my video, but a video of the exhibit that I saw when we were in Paris. It's on my Corbiere-Scott Designs on this Facebook page, as a matter of fact. Anyway, that's all I bought. I found every art supply store, and I got so many cool things, and it's just fun to see, like, what's different there. Like, do they have different colors? Do they have different, like, I got some Faber-Castell stuff that I've never seen in America. So why wouldn't I play with that and try it? And I got hooked on Schmenka watercolors with Jeff's aunt. She took me to this coolest art gallery that also had like a section that was all art supplies. And I'm telling you, I got hooked on those Schmenkas. And so I just ordered some more. They were kind of spendy, but the color is so intense that it's just, oh gosh. I'll paint something with them and show you. Well, you know what? I did paint, when I did Artist in Residence and it was all bright colored, I think you'll, if you go back on my Instagram, you'll see it. That was with Schminka. And they're, oh my gosh, they're so beautiful. Anyway, I just ordered some more, but they came from England. So, no kidding. When they arrived in the United States, I got an email. So they arrived at JFK like yesterday, I think. And now they'll send me like notices all the way across the country, I guess. Isn't that crazy? Crazy. So I just added that more purple. See? Don't touch it, Anne. Don't touch it. Let's see. We could do all three flowers the same kind of colors. That might be cool. Oh golly, we're after an hour. Is anybody even still here? Ooh, metallic. Oh, Nancy. I'm anxious to hear about those. Okay, this one has like a little edge, and that's kind of cool. So we could do this part of the petal, like this segment, one color, and then we could do that, a deeper purple. Pretty. And now we'll take some more of that color, and we'll do here. So this one, let's do like more purpley. No yellow in this one. Or I don't know. I might decide to add some yellow at some point. You know. But this one, I really like the yellow and the purple because that's opposites on the color wheel. Remember, everybody, purchase a color wheel. It will become your best friend. Because do you see, if you look at purple, do you see what color is opposite on the color wheel with it? Yellow. And almost always, well, always, colors that are opposite of each other on the color wheel they just play super well together. Blue and orange, green and red. And remember that can be like, here's yellow green and red violet, so like that lime green and a hot pink, that would look really well to work really well together. And then remember that what we did here with adding a little bit of black to that purple, that's creating a value. We're creating a richer value of this purple. So this purple is just all kinds of values, right? The lightest shade is a light value. Then we just keep adding a little bit more. Oh, honestly, stupid political ads on the telephone. So dumb. Anyway, the deeper the pigment, the deeper the value, right? And then when we add a little bit of black, we're going to add some more, the deepest value. So does that, I know that was kind of a jumbled segment of information, but we'll just keep talking about that as we go along. But value creates depth. So just play with your color wheel and play with mixing a color, like putting a pure color and then adding water for it to go lighter, lighter, lighter. Never white. Water, creating the lighter version of the lighter values of that color, and then adding like a little bit of gray or a little bit of black, maybe a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And that's how you're going to create that, like the whole spectrum of value. And that will make you'll have, oh my gosh, you'll be so happy with what you create and that you learn it all. Thanks, Nancy. So until Thursday, go paint something and then make a card out of it and then mail it to a friend. I adore you all. Yolanda, welcome. I think you will have lots of fun. We are a pretty fun-loving group, and we all like to make stuff. So who doesn't want to hang out with those kind of people, right? So I'll see you all on Thursday. Remember, we're going to do this same printable, the Anna T, and we're going to continue with water-based mediums. So it could be your watercolors, it could be water-based markers, it could be like I said, distress ink pads that we can create watercolors with. I will do that, and I will do distress ink pads, and I will do my Zig Clean colors, so you can kind of see the difference. So have a great day. I've got to go draw some more state designs. So I will see you all on Thursday. I can hardly wait. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.